Hi everybody, this is a response video. Basically, I'm trying this out. You know how people leave comments or they'll leave like messages or they'll respond in other medias? I'm gonna have a link to the video that I'm responding to, which is the Giga Anime Has Changed video. And I really enjoyed the video, but I was struck by the observations he was making, but I was also noticing like certain things are like certain comparables. The first thing that first of all, go watch the video. Please go watch the video, otherwise you're not going to know what I'm talking about. So he started off the video stating his cred, so just to give you an idea what kind of anime fan I am, I started watching Saturday morning cartoons, and there was a couple of shows that I noticed that were different. And this is like old days of Cartoon Network, old days when I had Boomerang. So I became a cartoon fan. And before that, I was a Batman fan. So let me get to where this is going. So cartoon fan, Batman fan. Batman the Animated Series was one of my favorite shows of all time. I would like wait till I would like my favorite part of the animated series each Saturday morning was the coming attractions for the next episode, in which like I would just run out of the rooms screaming. It's like, oh my god, they're gonna have Poison Ivy next week. Oh my god, they're gonna have Mr. Freeze next week. It's the Joker again. And it was awesome. So years later, when I see that Big O looks a lot like Batman the Animated Series, I think it's incredible. I want to say Big O was the first time I was aware of what I was watching, in that it was anime. The times before that, though, go back even further, because around the same time I'm watching Batman, I'm waking up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning every day before school, and I'm watching on Channel 11 the adventures of a high school girl who is going from like monster to monster each week with her and her friends, and they're getting really pretty and they're transforming, and it's a show called Sailor Moon. So I'm watching this, and then another show comes on afterwards where it deals with a father trying to get his son back, and it turns out that there's this green guy who's like you kind of get the sense that they're not friends, but they're something, like there's a history, and they're trying to get the son back, and that was Dragon Ball Z. So I'm waking up, and on the days that I can't watch it, I am setting my VCR's recorder timer so that it starts recording at the time it's supposed to come on every day. And I want to say that there was two other shows that I want to throw in here just because I got to represent. Technoman Blade ran on UPNs on Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it was a truncated version of Technoman Blade, which was the fuller, the original Japanese version. And Technoman, even though I didn't realize it, was a pretty well written adaptation, even though it cut short by about, I don't know, 14 or 15 episodes. Like, it ends on a cliffhanger. So I tracked down Technoman Blade to get the ending, even though I would have liked to have had the voice actors that I recognized to it, and this is about going 20 years later. It took me a long time to actually get my copy of Tekkaman Blade. And the other series that I watched, which was, I think it predates Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z. Like, one of the two shows got replaced by this one. Like, I don't know if it was a seasonal thing. I'm trying to remember how it went down exactly, but Ronin Warriors, where it's a guy, it's pet tiger, samurai, and I also grew up in a area that had its own video rental store that wasn't Blockbuster, and when I would go to the video rental store called Penguin Video, I would rent video games, and I would rent action movies, and I would rent Godzilla movies, because they had a collection of VHS Godzilla movies where it was Godzilla, Godzilla versus King Kong, Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla. These are either 80s or 90s Godzilla movies. I don't want to say 70s, but if you told me 60s and 70s Godzilla movies was in there, I believe you. Because I don't know exactly when those came out, but like there was like a timeless element to them because of, like, I grew up on movies that were poorly dubbed or subtitled, and the video games I was playing taught me how to like read what the characters were saying, so it wasn't like subtitles bothered me, because that's what it was like when you played a video game. So I was built for anime when it came out on torrent and on the pirate scene, and I never got into them huge, but that's like I was never like big on like going on the internet and just finding something. But if a friend was into something, I would get into it, and like, but for the most part, I relied on what was on television. So that's the kind of fan I am. Like, I am the fan that wants an actual physical library. I don't stream things like without considering buying things, even though it costs a lot of money just for something I'm already could watch, pay for it, and not have to take up space. But that's a different matter. So the first thing I want to say about the anime has changed is that the quality of the stuff that everyone is making now is just, it's cheaper to make, it's more efficient to make now, and the new stuff is just a little bit more refined. I'm not going to say more beautiful or prettier, because there are certain things about anime that I just love. Like, I love the old shows. Like, I'm trying to get like to watching the old ones that I missed. I found on Crunchyroll El Hazard. I'm looking for Slayers. I'm looking for the series Vision of Escaflowne, but I did find the movie, so I'm going to watch that this weekend. But Giga pointed out that there's a lot of anime being made, and there's just not enough time to watch all of them. And to that I say, you knew that going in, because no one says that about reality television shows. Like oh my god, I have to watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and I got to keep watching Survivor and The Amazing Race and The Bachelorette and The Bachelor. Like, no one says that about reality television. No one says that about like music videos. Like, oh, I gotta watch all the music videos out there. Like, I just love music videos. And what I'm gonna talk about now is the idea of everything that you have to watch, like you don't know what to watch, and that's like the paralysis of choice. In that, like, if you give people a Cheesecake Factory menu with a million things on it, they don't know what to order. But if they have 8 things on the menu, they know what they want because they can weigh things out. Like it's not like a full spectrum of things. And I feel like entertainment in general, today has the problem of there is so much content that there's the paralysis of choice. But in terms of relating to other people, because like the history of communication is like, first there was people talking to each other, and if they don't talk to each other face to face, there was no talking to each other. Then they had like eventually they worked their way up to like letters and mail so they could write each other. Then they had the phone where they could talk to each other over the phone, and meanwhile this is still 1-to-1 ratios. Then it goes to television. Let's just go with that one. Like, even though there's a whole bunch of other things that are important, television is like one thing going out to the many. And then television got more diverse, so that even if you were watching things on television, it wasn't guaranteed. Like, there was different channels for different things. I grew up on Cartoon Network and Boomerang. Some people grew up on MTV. Some people grew up on HBO. Like, whatever combination of things that you were interested in and that you watched, that's what you were. So with anime, because it was like the pirate subbers, and there was like torrents going on, where you could admire how interesting something was, but if you didn't understand it, you couldn't really relate to it. You were seeing something in. So anime in the beginning for Americans was a very niche thing, and because of the times that it lived in. If anime appeared now, all of a sudden, because it wouldn't be the same. Like it would be social media out. It would be everything. And that's the other thing too. The other progression is, once the internet hit, it wasn't just like, what are you watching? It's like, where are you watching it? What service do you have? Like, are you a Hulu person? Are you a Netflix person? Are you like a direct from the source person? Like, I'm following this person's Twitter. I mean, the amount of content that's out there and the stuff that people are gravitating towards is so unpredictable. I go to comic conventions and I realize I have no idea what any goddamn kid is dressing up as, and what a shirt means or what. But I feel like you as an individual will have your taste. Like, I've had the experience of like telling people about manga that I've read and anime that I've watched, and having them have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. And to like a second point I want to make as a report is like I started out as an individual with like a very small range of interests, and now that anime has sort of gone mainstream, but not really, it's certainly gone on blast. Like, I'm still, like, I've changed, but I'm still in the same position. I'm in a position where I am interested in things that are not interested in, that like the masses do. Like, when I tell people I've read Crows, and they're like, what's Crows? It was like, well, it's the prequel, or, well, I shouldn't say the prequel, it's the original series that got continued in Worst. It was like, oh, what's Worst? I was like, oh, goddamn. So, I think the new anime fan is eventually going to be like a series of people just like carrying a flag for their particular show, because like there was a part Gigguk mentioned about seasonal anime in that it is continuous, and like there's people that'll catch up, there's people that'll just binge it, there's people that'll simulcast it, watch it once a week when it comes out. You're gonna have shows that people are aware of but they don't watch. I mean, I'm aware of How to Get Away with Murder and Grey's Anatomy, and I don't know what other Shonda Rhimes show is still on the air that I haven't watched. Pretty much all of them. I look at that and I'm like I look at that the same way I look at steak tartare. I was like, not for me. So I feel like the anime is changing, but it's going to change into the individual anime fan, and eventually it's going to be like there's not going to be the old school anime fan, because the old school anime fan didn't live in like the old school anime fan had like strong feet. I don't even know how to like describe it. It's like they were defined by the shows and the movies that they watched, and there was enough people that had this similar experience. And what's eventually going to happen is it's going to turn into what all media is like, in that there's going to be fans of anime in the same breath as people who watch Jeopardy every night. It's like, oh, you do that too? It's not going to be the community that it is now. It's going to be bigger than that. There's going to be the nucleus of the community, in that the people that are really interested in watching this stuff are going to be the ones that like there's always going to be levels. Like there's like I'll give you an example. Every person that's ever made fun of another person for watching Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, or DBZ or Sailor Moon, and they call it, it's like, well, that guy's just like an entry level. That's like something tard or whatever. Those are the guys that are like legitimately hardcore, or at least definitely like trying to be assholes. Because there's anime that even I have no desire to watch, because I know what it is going into it. Like I tried getting into Eromanga Sensei. There's people I know that watch Boku no Pico, and just for the casual listener, like that one is I don't think it's kawaii, but it's like the guy version of Mo, but it's like guy on guy and stuff, and like I have no desire whatsoever. Like if I wasn't gonna watch Brokeback Mountain with Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger, directed by Ang Lee, I'm not gonna watch an anime about it on a swim team. Like there's just like, and what I love about anime in itself, this is not so much a point, but like I just love like the subversive stuff in that, because everyone's gonna be like, it's gonna be watered down by consumerism is a general fear of things. It's like, well, once it goes mainstream, like no one's gonna make like real art anymore. They're gonna think it's got like movies. So it's like, there's a chance of that. There's gonna be more watered down material. There's gonna be more meddling material just because they're making more content. But like I'm watching Darling in the Franxx, and while it kind of it definitely levels off after a certain point, because I'm only on episode 19. I haven't seen the conclusion of it. I don't think the conclusion's even out yet. But Darling in the Franxx, for example, is a metaphor for the dating lives of high schoolers. Like don't get me wrong, it's about a group of kids trying to save the world. But in terms of what the show is showing you is that like it's demonstrating like relationships and how they grow and how they fail and how they have things going on. Like so another example, like Devilman Crybaby. That one was like unapologetically violent and like downer ending, but such a satisfying series. And what I loved about it was like it knew that there was an audience out there that wanted blood, violence, gore, and it didn't want it like it wanted it done better. And like here's another one for you. Like Megalobox right now looks like it was done 20 or 30 years ago, even though it's not. So I think what's gonna, like, this is all in response to what the Gegek was saying, was that there's not gonna be like the true what I took to him saying was there's not gonna be the true community that what we have now. It's not gonna be as like clear and concise as it is now. And what I'm saying is, no, it's going to divide, and what's going to happen is there's going to be multiple communities and that are going to have nucleuses and all that stuff. So I think I took to rambling too much in this video, but like my biggest issue was like, god damn it, like I was waiting for the things that I liked to become mainstream so more people could figure out what I'm into. But then what happened was the more I got into it, the more mainstream things got, and like people still don't know what I'm talking about. So that was a nice I'm screwed moment.